Select two of the four learning centers: manipulative center, sensory center, block center, or building center. For the two centers you select, design your dream space. Think big because money is no object. For instance, if you select the block center and the sensory center, what could you put in each of those centers to optimize your learning for your students?
I can go first. I would do my block center and the sensory center. And for block center, I would do wooden blocks, like foam blocks, like interlocking blocks, any kind of blocks there in the world, like those which encourage open-ended play and like kids can create them in multiple ways. I've there are 3 to 4 kinds in our classroom, and I'm sure there are so many out there. So all different varieties of blocks will be in my block center. And for my sensory center, I'm a dreamer for the sensory center. So like the water table, sand table, all those things that we already have. And for outdoor sensory, I really want a mud kitchen for my students, like where they can get messy, they can play in the dirt, water, mud, all the natural items is definitely part of my sensory center dream.
Okay, for mine, the centers that I would choose would have to be sensory center. I'm going to have different swimming pools full of different items for the children to fully submerge their bodies into if they so choose. If money's no option here, I'm going to have one with Orbeez in it. I'm going to have one with slime in it. I'm going to have one with like one just water in it. I'm gonna have one that they can make their own bubbles if they want by raising their arms like this. Then all of a sudden the bubbles are everywhere. That's one. Okay. Next, building center, right? I'm thinking outdoor Lincoln logs, but they're gonna be huge, very light, but the kids then can use them, or jumbo Lego sets, right? Where they are building their own towers, magnet tiles, but even bigger than the foot by a foot one, right? We're going big. We're going 2 feet by 2 feet. And we're just stacking them, letting them create their own quarters. That's what I'd do, ladies.
I'm on that train with you, Crystal. I would have all that stuff. Like my kids definitely enjoy sensory activities a lot, especially now, like during these hot days. I would get them outside with water and things like that. I would put in like kind of like those arcade, like those I don't know if you guys ever been to places like that, but like adult like arcades that have the huge like Connect Fours and the, you know, just like everything's like huge. I think they would love that as well. So yeah, I agree with all of that.
For my centers, I would do manipulative center and the block center. For my block center, I would have, like Pooja said, I would have the big blocks. I would have the foam blocks, the big Legos, the small Legos, the color blocks, the foam blocks, you know, different kinds of shapes and everything. Because I know that my kids really love the block area. That's like one of their favorite spots. So the more blocks, the merrier, you know. And for my manipulatives, I would have gears, I would have the links, I would have the star builders, the tube builders, the nuts and bolts, the Lincoln logs. That's one thing that I wish that we did have in my classroom are the Lincoln logs. Another classroom in my building has those, but we don't have those. Snap blocks, just a lot of different things where they can just sit down and build whatever, use their imagination. Because one of my kids today, the gear builders, he was actually making dogs for all the other kids and giving them to them. So I thought that was really cool. I was like, wow, I never would have thought about making a dog with that. You know, it just allows them to use their imagination and, you know, and come up with ideas of their own. So I really like that.
For my own center, I think I would actually incorporate like a smart board or like technology, because I feel like a lot of centers, like they're lacking in like technology areas, and just be able to have like the kids actually use like a smart screen, like to actually like touch the screen and be like more interactive with it, with like a calendar or days of the week versus just like having like a poster. And then I would also say like that's kind of like my literacy area too. Like we do this with like my students, like every day, like they check in to see like how they're feeling, and we go over like what zone they're in. I think that would be great to do in my classroom. And then like I always thought it'd be really cool just to do like different themes. So like I love Disney, so I always thought it'd be really cool to like do a Disney theme. And then a lot of my kids love like the famous books like Brown Bear, Pete the Cat. So like just to have like different like stuffed animals that go with the book, so the kids actually have like a stuffed animal buddy to like incorporate with reading, because I feel like a reading center, like wherever I work, has always been like lacking a lot, and like kids don't really want to read. So I thought it'd be fun to like actually have like a Pete the Cat, so the kid could like look at the book with the Pete the Cat or something fun. And then I'd have a calm down area that'd be cozy and comfortable and just more space.
For mine, I actually saw a sensory center on TikTok, and now every time I think of a sensory center, I think that's what I want. She had this custom built, almost like a long desk across the wall, and it had multiple different like sensory bins in it. So each sensory bin had something else, and I think that's what I would personally want for my room, having something like that along the wall. Plus it saves space, and I don't have to have a giant sensory table that I have to lug around everywhere. And then for my black center, I really enjoy they're like cardboard bricks. Well, they look like bricks and they're all different colors, but they're like about like this big. And I really love those, but we don't have a lot of them. I think I would want like a limitless supply of those big bricks, because the kids love like building like houses with them or like tunnels and stuff. But what's nice is if they end up falling on a kid, they don't hurt because it's cardboard and they're actually pretty safe. I have not met a kid that hasn't liked blocks. So I think I would focus my block center and have those, which means my space would have to be way bigger.
While I love the block center, I would actually like to work on a building center and sensory building. When I think of that, I think of big pieces like maybe made out of a lightweight plastic but durable, or foam with different like bendable pipes with nuts and bolts and pieces that are round, squares, triangles, so that that way they can create things. Like you said, the big Lincoln logs, those things would be pretty cool to have, because like right now, some of the stuff that we have for building is so in between medium size and manipulative that I don't feel like it just gives the kids enough of what they need to be able to explore more with it or use their imagination. So I would do more child size items in that center to bring it alive. As far as the sensory center, I have a lot of sensory children. So outside of the sand and water, I would bring in other things like more of the pop-it things, more hands-on things that are soft, different textures. I would like to get some weighted blankets, the lights that maybe hang from the ceiling to give off a different feeling in an area, and a hammock that some of the kids that just need to be by themselves and feel something wrapped around them, they could get in there safely, and be safe and be by themselves. Of maybe like a sound machine that is enough for the sensory area, but not too loud that it's going to disturb everything else. Um, sensory, I think, goes a long way, whether it be inside or outside. Um, I agree on the big magnet tiles because we have the foot ones, but they definitely could be bigger, although they do get heavy if they have rainwater in them. We learned the hard way. Um, and that's what I would do for mine. As an educator, what could you do in the block area to enhance your students' literacy, math, or science skills? So in my block area, something that we did to enhance this was we added to some of the smaller blocks, we added alphabet letters, we added numbers. We used cardboard and made parking lots on them with markers, and we put numbers on the cardboard, numbers on the cars. They had to match them. We also took environmental print, put them on the blocks. So when the children are building with the blocks, they can say, oh, well, over here I built the grocery store, or this is where we go to get gas. Science skills. You could bring in different pictures of like, have you guys ever seen the pictures of the Can You Build? They have one that you can get that has like, can you build a rainforest? So there are things that you can add in like trees and whatnot, and then they can use the blocks to create like a zoo. And then that would bring in your animals and really get them going on building that. And then you can also enhance it just by adding in open-ended questions.
Yeah, same. We did the same thing. We added pictures of the stores like Target and like Jewel-Osco and all those stuff on our blocks. And now kids started looking at the logos first, and now they've started to read the first letter. It's J, it's Jewel-Osco, and it's T, it's Target. So they have related the environmental print to the letters, and now it has helped them learn the letters so much more in an easier way. We also can put numbers around the blocks area, and then have kids count how many blocks do we need to make this. So that will build their maths. We can provide visuals of what kind of shapes can we make with these blocks. So blocks can help them with that mathematical knowledge. And like Tess, how everything that Tessa said, that give them ideas of maybe what all can be built with blocks. Rest can be their creativity, but give them just a little bit of a starter, and then so much they can learn there and explore in the science with the blocks. There's so much to be done with the blocks. Math, literacy, I think it touches almost every area.
I think that for the block area to enhance it, you could add books about building, of course, but also have clipboards with paper and pencils over there so that they can, they can sit down and draw, design a building, or, just write down different things about the buildings that they're doing. That's part for literacy. For science, you could add ramps. You could add, just get like toilet paper tubes and paper towel tubes and little smaller cars or marbles, and just let them make ramps and see what things they can, in the block area which goes down faster. For what was the other areas? Math, science, literacy. For math, you could add, like you said, numbers on the blocks, so they can, when they stack them up, they can count the numbers. They can put numbers together so they can start making larger numbers, put the 1 and the 3 blocks together. Oh, now you have number 13. Or they could, the shapes, have little, kind of like with the geo boards, but little pictures of different like buildings made out of little things made out of shapes, so they can match the shapes up and see if they can actually build what they're looking at on the card.
Yeah, I agree with all that's been said. What we do in one of our classrooms is we have anchor charts that have the different shapes of whatever the blocks are, and then it has the word under it, and that's in our little block area at eye level for all of the kids. And then those pictures and words match up with spots on the shelf, so when they put the blocks away, they see that, oh, the long rectangular ones go here, and then they like do that. And that's actually really helpful for literacy and really helpful for my sanity, so I don't have blocks falling off the shelves and onto kids. And just everything else that like everyone said, and like even when Carmelita, you said building ramps, like that would be considered science because they're building and like technology and stuff like that.
I agree with all you guys said. I feel like for math, like using like numbers, and then for literacy, always having like letters on like the blocks. And then even like just for other stuff, like for science, we actually used to do the ramps too when we would have like a ball, and we would see like where the kids could put the ramps to see how far, and even like just incorporating other things like having like like paper towel rolls, or like logs from outside and having different blocks, so like different shaped blocks, the big ones, the little ones, the smaller ones. And then yeah, just I feel like with literacy too, just like reading about blocks, kind of like encouraging the kids to like go over there and build, I feel like was always helpful for our students.
I agree with all of that. In my classroom, we too have something similar to anchor charts, but it's more like posters. We didn't make them, but like they're more posters, and like it gives the kids ideas of what kind of buildings to, make with the big blocks. And then of course, magnet tiles are very popular in our class. And I mean, the things that they come up with on their own, it's like beyond me. I'm like, man, I wouldn't even think of that, and these kids are like 4 and 5. So, yeah.
Well, I as well agree with everyone. One of the things that we do in our block area is we do tape, the letters on to the different ones, or we'll tape actually their little pictures onto a couple of them. So when they're making towers, when they're making their castle, oh, look at Violet's in the castle. Who else is in there? To help them identify their friends, their names. Now I think it also adds a personal element to it that really helps make it a personal touch to that area, instead of just building. When you put them quite literally in the blocks, it shows like, oh, okay, who's on the green block? Who do you think it is? Who's in the castle? And then they guess, then they're remembering the color green. We do a whole little song for it. But I think that adding different personal touches to the block area is always good. One of our favorites is magnet tiles. So again, we encourage like, okay, I put the cars right next to it and I say, we're making a big parking garage. Like who's going to make a garage with me, and assist with them, but by enhancing the personal appeal to the kids, I think that helps.